Hi there, this is Linda and welcome to my channel. Today I'm putting together my Project Life spread for the week of October 21st through October 27th, 2024, and I'm working with a variety of supplies for my stash. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, so I'm doing my audio a little differently on this one, so let me know in the comments if this is better or worse. I think it might actually be better. I'm using my AirPods to record my audio because there's some yard work going on outside that I thought would make some interference. So if this actually works out better, maybe I will do this in future videos as well. So for this week, this is the week of October 21st through 27th. So I'm just pulling my Hobonichi cousin over here. So this is a week right before Halloween, and I have over here my highlights of what was going on. This was kind of a rough week for me. Work was really rough. Pickleball I wasn't playing so well this week, and it was kind of frustrating. My daughter had some fraud on her bank account, and that was a huge stressor because it took a lot of time and she was really upset. But I did have some positives. I went out with some of my friends, two Jenns from Instagram who are craft friends turned real life friends. One of them has a YouTube channel, Chappy Plans, so I will link that below, and the other one just is on Instagram, but she shares really cute journals, and they both use Hobonichi cousins like me, so we had a lot of fun sharing that. So I will link them in the description box below if you want to check them out. I highly recommend. And then let's see, I didn't have a ton of other photos. So let's see, all of these photos are from my hangout with them. And then these are just like my other photos from this week. Some like fall stuff, cooking, just a random thing. Because like I said, it was kind of a busy, just like blah week other than hanging out with them. So I'm thinking I might make this entire side about this like hangout with my friends. And then this side is just going to be the rest of the week. So this is a stash busting spread. So I'm going to just kind of take you through a little bit of my process for what I was thinking about before I actually dive into putting the spread together. So I'm pulling this tray out from my drawers beneath this, my Alex drawers, because here I have my story card. So I was thinking I could use a story card in this spread. I'm not sure if I'm going to. So there's like these ones that have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I could use it to tell like 5 stories of the week. So that would be, let me just move this to the side. So that could be one way I stash buzzed. So let me just see, like if I did 1 and 2 on like one card, and then 3, 4, 4, 5, I could do that. And that actually would be kind of cute. I'm not sure if this is what I want to do, especially because I'm not sure I have 5 distinct stories. I feel like I've got longer stories about this and shorter stories from the week. So I just wanted to show you that as a possibility. One of the things I would do for stash busting would be dive into here and pick something from here as a jumping off point for the week or for the spread. So I have these like easy part, hard part ones, and these might be cute to do one card about that. So I'm just going to bring those ones out as something I could work with. I'm not going to pull any more of these, but that is just a good like jumping off point for a spread. I also have like, these are longer strips, so I could definitely use these and just pull something out of here for a jumping off point. So like these ones go together. So that would be a good, let's see, today is the day, letting today be what it is, one story at a time. So these would also be super cute as a jumping off point. Let's see here. Today is the day would be really good for hanging out with my friends. This one for like the rough times, and this could just be like for my 3 stories for the week. So I also really like that. So I'm just going to put like a few options on my table here, and then I'll see what actually comes together. So I'm going to put this back down here. And so another way that I could do my stash busting would be to pull out one of my trays for specific shapes. So I have let's do circles. I have a circle tray because I have a lot of circles. And this could be a good jumping off point. So usually when I do something like this, I'm looking for repeated elements. So these ones would be super cute. I could do like this if I had longer stories. I don't want to do that for this spread. You also could just use like a shape. So I could just say, okay, I want to do like circles and pull these just unrelated circles from here to kind of create what I want my layout to be. I'm not going to do that. I'm using both of these maybe as a jumping off point. I don't love the colors of these two together, so I'm not sure I'm going to use them both. But I'm going to start with that. Then I'm going to move over to my project life cards. So I have so these are my prompt multi-story cards, or multiple prompt cards. So basically the idea of these cards is they give you a spot to put multiple stories with a specific prompt. So I'm going to use my Hobonichi cousin and go through these and see if any of these will work, because I don't have a lot of stories this week. I'm gonna actually, before I do that, just make a note on here. So this week, I really want to document my Friend's Day. That needs its own story card for sure. Then let's see, besides that, I don't really have much to do. I could do like one story card about negatives. Summer's fraud. Being stressed at work, which is kind of like a just general theme this fall. And pickleball struggles. And those are like the negatives. Let's see some other like positives. New scroll frame. That's for my cross stitching. We had some oddly warm weather. Oh, negative the Cornish hens. So we like to try new recipes and usually they come out really well, but we tried making Cornish hens and they were just not good. My 2025 lineup, I filmed that this week. I got a lot of happy mail. Not really much else. So that's kind of my idea for the story. So then let's see here. This one has eating, drinking, reading. This one I actually could very much fill in, and this would be a good one because like making could be my 2025 lineup. And I know what I was reading, eating, drinking. I did have some of these, like what I was watching and stuff was listed on there. So I could definitely use this card. I think I want to. I like the colors. I want some sort of prompt card because I have at least one journaling card over here with this story, and then probably one with some of these negatives, and then maybe one other one, but that's about it. And if I use these as jumping off points, that's going to kind of dictate which cards are going to be journaling cards, but I'm just going to look through the rest of these. So when I'm trying to do stash busting, I'm going to look through cards like this that are more specific because they are harder to use. So I really like this one, writing it down. I want to remember. I don't think I have things that fit with that prompt. And that's why I said this stack is really a hard thing to use, a lot of these. So it's easier to kind of to go through these first, or good to go through these first. So I could use this one to tell the positive and negative rather than these. And then actually I could put this on here to kind of pull that in and rather than use that. So I'm liking that so far. Let's just continue going through here. That would be good for that story. And then some learning ones. Okay. So that's a good kind of starting place from there. I'm going to go over, and the camera's not moving with me, but I'm looking over in my journal card stash, and I'm thinking of what other prompts do I want to use. So I know I need something for this 4x6 spot. So I'm going to look through my 4x6 topics, and I'm just going to kind of read them to you. So I have weekly, monthly sets, grids, solid stripes, general list, multi-list, and specific list multi. So I'm going to go through that specific list multi because that's similar to this one, but for 4x6, because I don't know that I need a full 4x6 to journal about this day. Like this one could be cute to tell like multiple stories about this day. But now I'm starting to see like these colors aren't really working because these are muted and these are bold. So I don't like that. That's the one that doesn't go. So I'm going to pull that one out and just kind of go through these and see if any of these kind of jump out. Like this one, the colors work well, but I don't really have a story for that. I could use that one, but again, that doesn't go to this story. So I'm thinking I'm not going to use that. And I might actually end up doing a filler card there that's more of like a quote card. I could use this one to tell the story of this day, but again, this yellow is really bold, although this one's bold, so that would work. And I could put this today is the day on a photo of us and do journaling about our day there. So that's a possibility. So I'm going to leave that one for now. I like the colors of this one, but again, the story prompt doesn't work. I really love this one and the colors, but the routines that doesn't work either with the stories I want to tell. Okay, so I'm gonna put these ones away and then look through some other sections. So I'm going back over to my journal card section, and so I have winter, fall, summer, spring. So I definitely could go through my fall 4x6 cards. So let's see there. Now this one, so it is October, and I could also use this to journal about this day with friends. And that could be cute to use this one here. And so these are more filler cards, but these, not necessarily. Some of these are journal cards, some are filler, but these are all fall themed ones. And I'm just kind of going to look through them and see if any of them fit the stories I want to tell and the pockets and the colors. So I'm looking at the prompt, I'm looking at the color, I'm looking at like this looks really nice with it. The colors, it goes very well. I could, crop this down. Some of these are specific months because I don't do like an October section because then I'd have to have 12 for each month. Instead, I do for this season. So none of those fall ones really work. And then let's see, I have food, outdoor travel, watch, read, listen, large icon, family, friends, you. So this is a friends one. So maybe I could do a friends card. Ooh, this color looks good too. So I could do this one The only problem I don't like this one is because this one I was going to do I'm grateful for crafty friends, and this is also would be the similar, so I think I'm gonna stick with that one. Okay, so I think I like this one, so I'm gonna stop looking through my 4x6 cards, and I'm going to move on to my 3x4 cards because I still need a title card, and I need maybe another journaling card. I don't really need one. And I also kind of want to use this one, so I might put this on one. I'm not sure. And then I also still have, I could do this, easy part, hard part, and create a filler card. So that's also an option. But I do need a title card, and I need something here. And I might end up putting pattern paper here, but I'm gonna look through my fall filler cards for here. So unlike my 4x6 cards where I have the entire theme together, my 3x4 cards, I have them by theme, but I also separate them out by filler or journal cards because I just use and have more 3x4 cards. So here's my stack of 3x4 fall themed cards. So I'm gonna use those to just kind of look and see if there's one I want for a title card that also kind of matches the colors and everything I'm going for. So I like both of these cards as a title card, and I'm thinking I could add a label on it. The thanks, even though that's more of a November theme for Thanksgiving, I like the colors, and like this kind of brings a Thanksgiving vibe. But then this one I like, so the colors are slightly different on here, and I feel like these colors match a little better because the teals pull out from there, but it doesn't have the yellow. But I could fix that with maybe a yellow label. So I'm gonna put that one there and just go through the rest of these quickly. I don't love this, so I'm not gonna do that. Now what I'm gonna do is go over to my pattern paper, I think, because I think I could do pattern paper for these, but I feel like I need something else here embellishment wise or something. So, and I'm still not sure about that. So I think this is gonna be a good bullet point list. So I need a card behind there. I'm gonna do that. And you can see I'm like hopping around a bit. So I'm just gonna pull out my blank kind of grid cards here and pick one that I think the colors work with this. I think maybe this yellow one. and that would make a good bullet point list for stories of this week. This can be some positives and negatives from the week. I think I don't need this and this, so I think I'm going to get rid of this one. Put those back where they came from, and then put these away. So now I need a card for here and something to go here. So I'm going to go through my fill in check off category of cards. So these ones are cards that are very kind of, you put something in them, but so they're kind of a filler card. I'm just looking for one that matches the colors and a theme that I could fill in on here. That one's perfect because it's got the yellow and it's going to be super easy to fill in. Now I might not want to put it right there because then I have these two yellows together. So I think I'm going to move this one down here and put the blue up here. Okay, so that gives me, I just need this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over to my pattern paper stash and pull some stuff to look through that is going to maybe match this color scheme. Okay, so I'm going to go through my 6x8 pattern papers, and I'm looking for something that's got like the yellows, or I also pulled over my purples and blues stack. So this one is kind of cute. This is definitely the right color scheme here. I think I like this one because it really brings in the blues and the yellows that I have in other cards. So I think I'm going to go with that one. It looks a little busy, but I think I can fix that. So I'm going to start with that. Okay, I'm going to crop this one down to make my 4x6 card. Here we go. And I think I might switch this one because this photo has like this white space. I think it makes it look a little less busy on here. And because this is a 4x6 pocket, not 3x4 pockets, I can shift this to, utilize that pocket a little differently. And now I might want to put some sort of embellishment on here, but I'm not sure what. I probably am going to look through my chipboard to find something, but I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and put you guys on fast forward and start getting this one put together. Start doing some of my journaling, cropping things down, pulling over some embellishments to work with in the similar way that I do when I'm working with a kit. I do want to point out though that this process did take a little bit longer than working with a kit, but it's giving me the opportunity to use some things from my stash, which is super fun, and to kind of tie these colors together, which I have a lot of fun with that as well. So it's a fun, different approach to project life for me for sure. So I'm gonna go ahead and put you guys on fast forward and start getting this one put together.
As I mentioned in the intro section, it takes a little while longer for me to put together a spread that is from my stash. And I think it's just because there's so many more options and things to go through, which is why I love working with a kit. But I also really love working with stash products because it gives me an opportunity to use some older products that I really love that I haven't had a chance to yet use. And it just feels so good to get them used and in my album rather than just sitting on my shelves. I'm starting with the title card here. I pulled over these label stickers that are from Ali Edwards, and I used one and my rolling date stamp to add the dates on here. And I'm just trimming off the edges a little bit. This card was from Kelly Perky when she had the cards as cut apart papers. So it's not cut perfectly, which is why I had to adjust it. Then I'm moving on to this card here. This is a prompt card, and I really love the opportunity to use these types of cards in my project life because it prompts you to tell a different story than you otherwise would have told. I don't want to do a currently card every single week. You definitely could, but I don't want to because I have a lot of the same habits that don't change that often, but it is fun to do it once in a while. For this one, I'm doing a mixture of my favorite alpha stamps. These are from Amazon, and I have them linked in the description box below if you're interested in purchasing them, and some handwriting. I liked the opportunity to do the stamping on this card for a few of the items, but I didn't want to do it for everything because I felt like that would be a bit much. And I also had some things I wanted to write a little bit more that I wouldn't be able to fit if I was just using the stamps. I have my Hobonichi cousin here on my desk on the weekly spread to help me fill in these stories. During the week, I use my Hobonichi cousin daily for daily journaling, but I use the weekly spreads to document what happened every day in a sort of timeline fashion. I also add emoji stickers from the Coffee Monster Co. to make them kind of cute, but really the main purpose of my weekly spreads and my Hobonichi cousin is to keep track of what happened for purposes of putting together my project life spreads, because my memory is not that good for all the little details. So when I write them down in my Hobonichi cousin, I do my weekly spread about once a day. Sometimes I update it multiple times per day. Sometimes I skip a day and fill it in the following day, but I usually don't fall more than 1 or 2 days behind. And that way, what happened was still on my memory to fill in the details. And then when I'm doing my project life spread, I have that as reference to look at to prompt my mind for what stories to tell. So for something like that currently card, while most of those things I would not have remembered, I could see from the details on the page what happened. So I knew kind of what I was watching and making and other things from the week because it was on here. Other things, I had to use other clues. So one of the things was, what was I reading? Well, I track my reading on Goodreads, so I was able to just pull up that app and figure out what I was reading. I did have to do that. I had to pull up the author information after I filmed this video just because I don't have access to my Goodreads without using my phone, and my phone is what I use to film. So I'm moving on to this journal card here. On my project life spreads, I like to have a journal card that is just a bullet point list of things from the week. So I created one there with that grid paper. It was actually a grid card and the one story at a time strip. And then before I'm doing that journaling, I just filled out that feelings card. It was a fun, just prompt card. It's from Ali Edwards from the Stories by the Year collection. And I'm using these enamel dots from Cocoa Daisy. I had just pulled over a set of enamel dots from Cocoa Daisy that had colors that matched the color scheme of this spread. I kind of coordinated colors a bit. These are kind of some fall colors, but not entirely, but I really used that title card from Kelly Perky as the jumping off point, the one with all the pumpkins, to get my palette for this spread. I used these enamel dots to mark off the things on that feelings card, and now I'm using them as bullet points on this card. So one of the things I do on my project life spreads is I like to include a bullet point list card almost every single week to tell those like littler stories from the week, the ones that you don't have a photo from, and it's just like a sentence or two, and it's just like little details of the week. And that's one of the things I really love about project life is capturing those smaller details. So this week I'm journaling on here about playing pickleball, stress at work, and training my new attorneys. I am an attorney and I supervise other attorneys. So while I don't document a lot about the substance of what I work on because there's secrecy reasons for that, and it would also be a little boring, I do document like the details like, oh, training new attorneys or getting new attorneys, because that had a huge impact on my life at this point in time. I also documented that I deep cleaned the trash can, I wasn't sleeping well, and that I ran errands. Now I'm moving on to these journaling cards here about my day with my friends. So the Saturday this week, I met up with 2 friends, and one of them I've hung out with multiple times. The other one I had never actually met in person before. So I was super excited to meet them both or hang out with them both for the day. We got coffee, we hung out, we looked at each other's journals and cousins, we chatted all things stationery, we browsed some cute little shops, and we got some lunch. And it was just a nice, relaxing day. And it was so refreshing to have friends that have the same interests as me, because most of my friends are not scrapbookers or journalers, and it was just fun to be around people who just get it. So I wanted to stamp the word friends on here. I have this newer stamp set I purchased on Amazon. I will link that one in the description box below for you as well. And that one, I used some new inks that I have purchased. These inks I got on Amazon as well, and I will link those for you as well. But these are Versa Magic inks, and I got these primarily to use in my Hobonichi cousin in my journal. I've read that they are pretty good for those, and I have used them, and they do not ghost at all, but they do take a while to dry. So you kind of need to plan out your spread in advance and stamp it, and then give it some time to dry before you are writing around it or turning the page. That said, they do look really nice in the Hobonichi cousin, so I'm excited to use them there, but I was also having fun using it on this spread. Here I'm moving on to this photo of the three of us, just adding one of these word strips and cutting off the ends. I believe those were from a quarterly scrapbook kit from Ali Edwards, but I don't recall exactly. Now I'm moving on to this journaling card here. My plan for this card is to tell the story about what we did on that day. The one that I stamped the word friends on was just about being thankful for having these friends and having friends with the same interests and the ability to kind of meet up with them. This one is going to be more of an itinerary of our day. It has a morning, afternoon, and evening section, or morning, midday, and evening section. I only hung out with them from the late morning to the middle of the day, so the top two boxes are going to be about our hangout. And then in the evening, I just added some journaling about stuff that happened after I hung out with my friends. It was just an ordinary day, the rest of it, but because there was that space on this card, I decided to fill it in that way. If I didn't want to include anything about the evening because it wasn't really relevant to the story I was telling, I could have covered that section with some washi tape or patterned paper and just cut it off after the two sections, and that would have worked really well as well. So just because a card has prompts for things on it doesn't mean you have to fill them all out. You can make the cards work for you. So if this one is in your stash and you were thinking that it was hard to fill out because of all of those sections, that is a way you could use it. I also could have done some large stamping in one of the sections. For example, in the evening, I could have used those large alphas that I just used to stamp out friends and stamp something like relaxing evening or something along those lines if I didn't have any more details to include. I used my gray mild liner to highlight the SA along the side to mark that this was Saturday. And then I did put my pen down before journaling that evening section because I wasn't entirely sure if I was going to actually include journaling there or if I was going to do, like I said, and have some washi tape or something, but also because my hand got tired. So when I journal a lot, my hand gets tired, and I decided I tend to hop around on what I'm doing purely to give my hand a break. I also feel like mentally it's just more fun to work with the embellishments than the journaling, so I enjoy taking a break from the journaling and working on other things. This chipboard here says my pupil right now, and it has this like perfect plaid on it that just fits so well with the story, with the colors, everything. So I was determined to use it, and you'll see how I use it in a little bit. For now, I'm going through my chipboard. I recently redid my chipboard organization, and I shared a photo on my Instagram. I will link below my original chipboard organization video because my new system is very similar. I just have some updated containers with a little more space to grow. I did film that process and intend to share a video here with you guys about my updated chipboard organization, but that will probably not come until the new year because I have a lot of other content planned for the month of December. Here I brought out my yellow colored chipboard. I had also previously brought out the one for people and friends and the one for fall. I'm just trying to find chipboard pieces that match the colors and the sentiments for this spread that I want to use. I end up now pulling out, I think, the blue one next. Yep. And I'm going to go through these as well because I found that yellow and blue were kind of the primary colors on this spread. I'm going to just have a few of the chipboard pieces on a couple of the cards and the photos, and then I'm going to move on to adding some other embellishments. Okay, so although I'm going to talk more about chipboard organization and using your stash of chipboard in a future video when I share that organization with you, I did share this over on Instagram recently, and I asked people what kinds of questions they had about chipboard organization. And one of the questions that I got a lot was how to actually use your stash of chipboard. And doing projects like this where you are setting yourself up to just use your stash is a great way to use your chipboard. Organizing your chipboard in the ways that you think, however you think when you're working on a project, is a way to use your chipboard. So my categories, which I will go into in more detail in that future video, are based on topic primarily, and then on shape and color for the ones that are general sentiments like love this, then I'm just going to put it on the color, because you can see as I'm working on my spread, I am thinking about the stories that are going on. So I'm thinking about, I'm meeting up with these friends. What are we doing? And I'm looking for embellishments that match that sentiment. Like right there, I just pulled out that speech bubble that says love books, perfect for that books piece of that photo. And I'm using these products based on the sentiment. I'm also secondary looking at the colors. So I've said multiple times in this video how this spread has lots of yellows and this lighter blue color and oranges. And so I'm pulling out products that are those colors specifically. So organizing my products by sentiment and then by color works well for me. That might not work for you. That might not be how you think, but keep that in mind when organizing your products, to organize them in the way that you think when you're creating. Also, you have to just use your products. I know that that's kind of like obvious, I guess, but a lot of people say like, well, how do you use your stash? How do you push yourself to do it? Well, you just have to do it. When I'm working on a project, I just get in the habit of pulling out the chipboard containers and looking through them. Make sure that your organization is accessible, which is one of the reasons why I redid my chipboard organization, because the previous way that had it sorted was great, but I couldn't pull the organizers out of the drawer. Part of the reason I want to pull them out of the drawer is because I do film a lot of my projects for you guys, and I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. But also, it's just easier to pull it out and look through them on top of my desk rather than in the drawer. So having organizers that are easily accessible so I can use them is the first step, and organized in a way that I think so I know what to look at and where to look for the products I need is the second step. But then actually pushing yourself to use them is the third step. If you're always picking up new products, or you're always trying to get the new collection and work with the new kit, you're never going to use your stash products. So I think especially, I was recently just scrolling on Instagram and seeing how someone was talking so much about how everyone is always trying to sell products. And I understand that sometimes I do that too. I'm sharing links with you guys and the products that I'm using. And part of that is because I am on creative teams, and that's part of my job as being on those creative teams. But it's also, I'm sharing with you things because people want to know that. And I want to know that when I see someone else using something. And I want to say, I really love that product. Where can I get it? So I understand why it's a positive to share, but sometimes it can be too much. And I think it's important to give a reminder that you don't have to use the same products as someone to be inspired by them. You don't have to have all the newest things. I definitely don't buy all of the products that I see people using, but I still take inspiration from their projects. So even if you don't have any of the products I'm using on this spread, hopefully you can take away some inspiration in terms of how I'm using products, the shapes I'm using, the process I'm using, the colors, those types of things, to give you some inspiration to use your own stash. I think that using a stash is a little bit harder than working with a kit, because a kit is curated purposely to go together. And when you're working with a kit, there's also often inspiration out there from people on creative teams or the brand itself, or just if a kit is newer, there's just going to be people using it. So you're going to be able to see inspiration. So being able to kind of translate those ideas of what you see online and inspiration that you pull to your own projects using products that you don't see anyone else use is a skill, and it does take time and it does take more effort, but I think it's definitely worth it. But you also have to be real with yourself. Sometimes there are products in your stash that you're just not going to use, and that's okay. You can get rid of them. You can downsize. You can decide that products are not for you or it's time to move on. That's okay. So don't be too hard on yourself if you're not using your stash. You can always reassess. You can always change your process. Just have fun with it. That's the whole point, right? So I'm wrapping up my spread here. I am adding all of my embellishments. I pulled out some chipboard pieces. I pulled out some heart stickers to add right there. You see, I added one on that blue half circle chipboard piece on the left-hand side, and I'm adding one on that chipboard as well. I pulled out some paper chipboard or paper die cuts to add on to that 4x6 card. I also had the one that says love books. It was a speech bubble. I apologize for my face in the screen as well. I'm sorry for that. But that love books was a speech bubble, and I just cut off the speech bubble portion. I don't love speech bubbles as a theme or shape. Although we get them a lot, so often I just modify them to work for me, and that's how I get them used in my products or projects. Here's a look at my completed spread. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And as always, I hope to see you guys all in the next one. Bye.